Good evening, everybody. Welcome on to the Money Stop. Happy Tuesday night. Um, it's been a little while since we've chatted with you guys, but um, very happy to be bringing you guys another episode of the Money Stop here. And hopefully, you guys are tuning in from wherever you are tonight to listen in. We have a very interesting episode. A lot of stuff to talk about tonight, so hopefully you guys will be tuning in. I know a lot of you guys have already joined in, so thank you guys. Appreciate you guys for hopping on, taking the time. I'm once again joined by my co-host Laner.
Hello, everybody. Good to be back.
Yes, sir. And we, like I said, have a lot to talk about tonight because we kind of did something similar to our last episode where we kind of not skipped a week, but we kind of we doubled up the tasks for ourselves. So now we have 2 races to cover instead of 1. Hopefully that will come to an end starting next week. But last week was kind of crazy for both of us, and we didn't find that we had enough material to cover with the race stream being shortened for Watkins Glen. So, we're gonna work with what we can with when we get to that part of the race recaps and stuff like that. But at least for kind of an initial breakdown, just talking about some things that were going on over the last few weekends. So we had Charlotte and we had Watkins Glen. I don't know. I guess if you wanted to talk about how you think the race went from your perspective, Laner, I think that would be. I think that would be
I wasn't even at Watkins Glen, so
no,
I
I'm
don't know.
talking about Charlotte. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Charlotte was Charlotte. I thought it was okay. I mean, it wasn't like the best race in the world, I don't think, but I mean, it was all right. Like, I feel like you could make passes somewhat. It was a pretty bottom dominant track, or maybe it was I don't even remember it, but I know that we had a good mix of people leading. We had a lot of different leaders, and I know, like, if you kind of look at the laps led totals, there was definitely a good mix of people. I feel like we had a pretty fast car personally, led the second most laps, and feel like we probably should have won the race, but unfortunately things did not fall our way at the end. Popped the wall going for the lead and ended up 4th. So unfortunate end to the day for us, but overall I think the racing was pretty good. Like I just mentioned, we had a lot of different players up front, and yeah, I mean, I thought it was a pretty good race, honestly.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you, what was your opinion on the racing? I guess from like a spectator standpoint, was it competitive enough to like not change the package, or like did you think that the package was sufficient enough for what the product was?
Charlotte,
Yes.
I mean, I think the package was good. Like, I don't really know what more we would do with it. The only thing that I think could maybe be done to Charlotte is maybe making it a little bit wider. Like the model itself, I just think it kind of got narrow at times, and that kind of caused issues here and there where you couldn't really make passes without making contact with somebody.
Sort of
But
similar to Texas.
yeah, I think if there was more room to work around, then I think it would have been better. But for what the track was, like, especially after what we saw last season where we couldn't even finish the race, I think it wasn't really that bad. I thought
Yeah.
it was okay.
Yeah, and I'm not too sure about Watkins Glen, but I mean, I feel like from at least what I've heard is that not too many people enjoyed the race. I don't really know. Um, but yeah, I mean, kind of going off of what Benji said everyone complained last season about not being able to make passes, and they got what they wanted this time around. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's more of a game of like a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing. When it comes to these types of tracks, um, I immediately noticed when this new car came out with some of the new tracks or the track models, I should say, is that Charlotte and Texas were very alike with how narrow they were. Um, obviously Texas is a little different with how the turns are constructed, but with how narrow the track is, I think that they're very similar. So I think Texas was almost a preview of like how Charlotte was going to be in a way. That's at least what I thought. So I mean, and Charlotte is a crown jewel race, so there's no way to keep that off the schedule. I think at this point, from like a league management standpoint, but um, definitely two very similar tracks, and with how they were racing, I think definitely did not go unnoticed with the similarities there.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I kind of feel like Texas might have been a better race in my opinion. I don't know though. Like honestly, if you look at the races, I kind of think that they were both pretty similar
Hmm.
in terms of the racing product, at least to me. Just from in my opinion, I'm sure there's people that disagree with that, but I really think Charlotte and Texas are pretty much on a similar tier um,
Yeah.
to me personally. So yeah, I mean, I think the intermediates could definitely use some work in this game. Um, but I know that it's possible because we have seen good races with them. So, yeah, I don't think it was a bad race. I don't think it was the best race ever, though. So I'm just kind of like, in the middle ground with it.
Yeah, and just breaking down some of the laps led from Charlotte, and then we'll move over to Watkins Glen briefly. Um, Trix led a race high of 76 laps, and also won the race. We'll talk about maybe a little bit of controversy with him in a minute as well. Laner, you led 37 laps. Land led 33 laps. Benji led 22 laps. Parker led 18, and Lego led 3, and Bip led 3. Um, from what I understand, because I have not been around that much the past 2 weeks, in terms of just seeing some, I guess, some silly season news, but apparently, I guess, Trix left GFM and is now on his own
Oh
team
yeah,
of RCR, like the in real
yeah.
life team, and now drives the number 8. He drives for a completely different manufacturer now. So number one, totally saw this coming. Couldn't have predicted this like any better in the beginning of the season. I think. Um, I just don't think that that team was meshing very well from the start of the season. To be quite honest, I don't know if it was something that there was a disagreement about behind closed doors or what was the case, but um, they did not mesh very well from the start. So I think honestly, Trix moving to his own team is for the best for both sides of it. Um, GFM put out a statement on July 11th, just after midnight, and said, following today's race at Watkins Glen, we have decided to part ways with Trix effective immediately. We feel this decision is best for both parties and wish him nothing but the best going forward. That comes from Craigus, who is the team owner over at GFM. Um, I like I said, this race I'm sure was clouded in controversy for Trix, but I know that you know him getting his first win is definitely very impressive in the number 8. So I mean, happy for him, but you know, I guess you win some and you lose some. But yeah.
Yeah, I guess I totally forgot that we never even covered that. I think,
Well,
yeah,
we haven't been on the air since that happened, so
yeah. Well, that's just a whole topic because I mean, you have the side of it where yeah, GFM and tricks aren't meshing very well, and then you also have the side of it where like yeah, Trix is winning a lot of races, but he's not making friends along the way. And I feel like me and you have sat here and talked about this so many times in the past where we have drivers come along and they win a lot of races, but you know, they don't they're
Yeah.
not winning them the right way. It's going to come back to bite you, and we always say that, and normally it does come back to bite them. If you're not winning races in a way where you're gaining the respect of the field or doing it cleanly, you're not going to make it very far in this league. Just because the guys in this league, like, they don't take crap, and like they just don't, and we both know that. I've been on the receiving end of it. I've been on the giving end of it. Like if somebody does something to you that you don't like, and anybody in the field would probably say the same thing. Like you're gonna give it back to them. So like yeah, Trix is having a very good season. He's winning a lot of races, but we got a lot of short tracks coming up, and we have a lot of short tracks in the chase. So I don't think drivers are going to be very patient with him, um, especially in the chase whenever points are very important. Not to say what he's doing isn't impressive, but I don't know. I think he does some suspicious things to take the lead at these tracks, and I don't know. He, yeah, wins another race.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see, like, for example, what happens when the field gets to Iowa this weekend. The Cup Series is racing in Iowa this weekend, and honestly, man, I don't even know what to expect with that
Oh my
because
gosh.
Iowa's a very like we haven't raced on this version of Iowa before.
We did
Um,
last season.
oh, okay, all right. I didn't
Yeah, it'll
know.
be the
I didn't.
same.
Okay, so thanks for correcting me because I honestly didn't know if we had raced here, but I assumed we didn't. Um, but I honestly think that Iowa is a lot different from the other short tracks just because it's a lot smaller. Like you're in the corners and a lot more of the time than you're on the straights, I think.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to present a lot of opportunities for a lot of these drivers to make a lot of lovely friends on the track.
Yeah. Mhm.
Saying that in a totally sarcastic way, but no, I think that there's definitely going to be a lot of tempers this weekend. We've seen some tempers the last few weeks, but you know, a short track like this coming up, I think that's a good conversation to have later. So we'll
Yeah,
definitely
yeah. I was gonna
definitely
say
get
like we
into it.
should
But
definitely talk about that later, but I feel like Iowa's a track where a simple misunderstanding can turn into something a lot worse. Like I feel like last season me and Craigus got into it at Iowa, and I feel like in the moment, yeah, like things got heated and we made contact with each other, but like really it shouldn't have turned into that.
yeah,
Like I feel like if we would have in a perfect world had time to explain where we were coming from, like we could have not got to that point. But the thing about Iowa is you're like constantly like lap after lap. The lap times are so quick and you're just constantly in the turn. So like if you get pissed off at somebody, you know, like things are gonna happen. You don't have time to cool off and ease your mind. Like you're constantly in the corners on the gas. Like if you get mad at somebody, like tempers are gonna flare.
yeah.
It's not like a bigger track or an intermediate track where you kind of have some time to relax and cool off. Like you're just constantly in the pack, in the battle, on the gas, bumper to bumper. Like it's not going to be a good track if people cannot keep their composure. I will say that.
Yeah, and I think something that this number 8 of Tricks is going to have to focus on this weekend is recovering from this penalty that the team received after the Charlotte race. They received a 35-point penalty after repeated rule violations and, took a hit in the points with that. Um, so, I mean, we'll have to see if he can recover this weekend. But I mean, he's definitely going to have a lot of work to do in terms of trying to get back up to the points lead, and he's also going to have to balance a lot of enemies that he's made this season so far.
Yeah.
So that will be interesting to see how that plays out. For time's sake, though, I do want to move on to Watkins Glen, just to talk about for a few minutes, because I know that that was another big race, specifically for one driver, but um, just as a whole, I know that I didn't really see a lot of the race. The part that I saw, and then the race got cut off, I guess halfway through, right, Laner? That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, um, unfortunate that we didn't get to see a part of the race, but it is what it is. We can't really do anything about that now. The part that I really want to highlight and not ignore the fact about is Lego winning his first race of the season for any driver at SSR. Um, I think that that is a big breakthrough win for the organization as a whole, but for that team as well, because a couple weeks ago they were below the cutoff line, had to work their way above the cutoff line, and that win, gave them a huge boost of confidence, I'm sure, and it can't go understated, how much of a win for them, how much that's going to help them in both the points and just with performing overall. Um, and I really want to look at the laps too, if I could pull it up really quick again, because he did not lead the most laps
No, he didn't.
at all, but because Land led the most laps, he led 29 of those.
He was tied for second. Him
Yeah,
and Curtis both led 10.
yeah, Land led the most laps during the race, but Lego only led 10 of those laps during the race, and just it's very impressive. But I'm super happy for him, and I know that there are conversations going on behind the scenes of like what's gonna be taking place with SSR next season, but I definitely know that this win definitely gives SSR as a whole a confidence boost, and definitely helps out his team as a whole. So we're just very happy that we were able to finally get a win as an organization after a couple weeks. But for it to happen in the way that it did was really nice to see, um, and hopefully it's a good booster and a good builder for Lego over these next few weeks, especially going to some of these short tracks.
Yeah, I expect Lego to perform well at the short tracks. He really was the only driver, and I know I listened to the podcast yesterday with Benji and Parker, and they kind of
Yeah.
said the same thing. But he really was the only driver at Charlotte that just didn't show up.
Hmm.
And I know he was struggling with lag issues, or he was just really uncompetitive. And I know that he mentioned that he was struggling with lag issues. But really, like I don't think that SSR's been as slow or as uncompetitive as people may think. I think Charlotte really was a pretty good race for the team.
Hmm.
I mean, I led second most laps, and Parker won 2 stages. So I think the win definitely helped at Watkins Glen. But overall, like I think the team's in a pretty good place. I know that there have definitely been conversations in the garage of SSR is struggling, but I mean, I know we don't have the wins to show for it like we did last season up to this point, but I'm not hitting the panic button. I think the team's in a fine place, especially coming up to a lot of these short tracks.
Yeah, I think our team's in a better place than some others. That definitely have a lot more going on. Um, but you know, we still are struggling, I think, in some areas. But
Oh, definitely,
you
yeah.
know,
It's not
I,
sunshine and rainbows.
yeah, but I don't think that there's any team that is kind of firing off on every single cylinder right now. Um, I think with Trix leaving GFM, because he was definitely like
Yeah,
he won a couple of races with them early on, and then um, I think Land won his race, and um, Craigus won as well. but I think that like outside of Trix's wins, I don't think that there's been like a dominant team. I would say like if Trix stayed at GFM, I would say like
That's what
GFM
I
is
was gonna say.
the
Yeah,
team that's like
yeah,
they're
yeah.
they're the team to beat. Now that he's left, I don't really know who the star driver is again over there. You know,
Well,
or I guess like who the front runner would be. I wouldn't say star driver, but who the front
yeah.
runner would be. Um, they still are clocking in week in and week out with their laps led and accumulating stage points. Um, but for the win side of things, I'm just like, now it's kind of a toss up for me. I don't really know if there's a singular team who's going to be dominating over the next few weeks. And, it's kind of a toss up for me only for the other reason too, that like the next few tracks coming up are kind of wild cards in my opinion. Like just some of these tracks I'm just not too sure about. I'm trying to find the
Well, we got the DC Street Race and Walt Disney World, which we've
yeah,
never ran in these cars.
yeah,
So and Daytona. So there's three wild cards right there.
yeah.
And I'm pretty sure we only have like 6 races left. So that's 3 out of 6. So yeah,
You could also throw in Bristol, to be honest, too, because
yeah. I mean, yeah,
Bristol has some new competitors this season. It's not the entire same field as we saw last season, so
it's
I think
very chaotic.
yeah, I think that there's going to be a lot of different competitors during that race. So I'm not really sure what to expect with that. Um, but there's just multiple races coming up where I'm like, I'm not really sure yet what really to say. Um, but that's something that I guess we will have to find out in a few short weeks. So
Yeah,
um, I think that is it for at least that part of the race breakdown. We spent a hefty amount of time talking about that, so
yeah.
we should probably move on. Um, but now we want to hear from you because we are going to be publishing our live race poll. So we want to hear thoughts from you on what your thoughts were on the Charlotte and Watkins Glen races. Um, Laner should be publishing the poll shortly, but for anybody that doesn't know, while he does that, or he just posted one.
Well, I guess we
Um,
should probably do our picks before I post it. I didn't even think about that.
oops, it's all right.
It's all right. Well, I'll wait to post the other one, but we can go ahead and do them. We
What did
weren't at
I
Watkins Glen anyway,
guess?
so our guesses probably won't be that good.
Yeah, I guessed a 65 for North Wilkesboro, a 70 for Texas, um, and a 58 for Dover. I feel like I've stayed in like the 50 to 70 range. I'm going to go a little higher and go with 75. I'm going to go with 75. Yeah,
For Watkins Glen,
for Watkins Glen.
you said 75.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, I really don't know anything about the race, but
That's why
I
I'm going
think
out on a limb.
yeah,
So I'm just going
I'll
based
go
off of
with
my numbers.
60, just because like I feel like in the past road courses haven't been the strong suit for this car. Um, so I don't know. Like I really don't know how the race was. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and think that it was not a good race. So I'll go with the
Yeah.
60.
I haven't really seen anybody in the chat talking about it either. So
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
don't
really
know.
sure if they just don't care about Watkins Glen or if they just don't want to chime in. But I think for Charlotte, I'm going to go with mm, mm, maybe I'll go with. Was Charlotte a good race? Do you think?
I thought it was, but I also ran up front for a lot of it, so that probably kind of changes my score a little bit
Mm,
or my perception on it.
yeah. I'm going to give it. I think I'm going to stick with the 75 too. I'm going to give it an equal score this week for both
Okay.
races. Yeah. I feel
Uh,
like 75 is is a fair score.
Man,
Um,
you kind of put me in a tough spot there because I was gonna go around that. I think I'll go with 70. I guess I'll go with
all right,
70.
okay,
So
we'll see who's closer then. Should be fun. All right, so um, like I mentioned a couple minutes ago, Watkins Glen and the Charlotte races are now posted for the polls. You guys can go vote and see if you guys thought that they were a good race or not. Um, we shall see in a few days. They are open for 3 days. We apologize. The last one was open for like a day, but um, this one should be open for 3 days now. And, we'll check back in at the end of the episode. Make sure to vote, though. Alrighty. Um, Earlier today, I put out a thing about us doing the call-in segment, and we just didn't have enough interest. But um, we wanted to do a special call-in for somebody who is at a special point in their, I guess, ROCAR career slash time with ROCAR. But um, reached out earlier today and wanted to hop on. So and obviously we love having this person on. So we're going to spend the next couple minutes talking with none other than himself, Mr. Time Modified. Um, I don't know if Time can hear us. Is he there?
I have a suit with me. It's just that it's
Oh,
in my closet there. I didn't realize I have to join and such, but I'm here. Don't worry. I
no,
can
it's
hear
okay.
y'all. I can hear y'all. Don't worry.
Well, welcome in, welcome in. Where are you
Weird being on
calling in from right
TV.
now? Where are you
It's
calling in
weird.
from?
It's weird being here because I mean, I thought I had to stop by. I need to get the suit and all that, but then I guess I would just be on a little bit of a virtual type guy here. So thank you for letting me in here, and I'm glad to be here for at least maybe for a few minutes. So
Yeah, of course. Of course. Um, well, we have a couple questions for you, but first I wanted to um, see what your perception was, I guess, of this season so far, um, and all the three series, and kind of from a spectator standpoint, and I guess a part-time commentary standpoint too, um, and racing. But what has been like the highlight for you, I guess, this season so far, and watching all three of the series kind of from week to week?
um, I mean, all three series, to be honest, have basically they have a different interest or at least type of style here. I mean, you have Cub, which is Cub. Pennzoil starting to at least climb up there with, some drivers could be prospects and also drivers maybe like me kind of racing there maybe for like part-time, full-time. I mean, you've seen some drivers like that. Truck series, you can kind of see maybe some new drivers trying to get to introduce to a road car like this. And I'm honestly glad to see, branching in more of, instead of, you have the Cup and Pennzoil and such, you at least have another type, which, some drivers can drive there, have a feel of, what the racing formula is, at least for like a D3 car, truck, anything like that. But if they like it, they like it. They can maybe be signed to a team. If they do well, you know, good luck. You got yourself a future. But, you know, I just like how, you know, it starts to at least branch a lot. A lot of people are enjoying it. At least some people made their own teams in the process, especially for D2, D3. It's been nice.
Yeah, I really like what you said there about a lot of the new drivers that are coming in and learning the ropes, and seeing them adapt to kind of the ROCAR community, and how much different we are from a lot of the racing leagues that exist nowadays. I think it's been quite special to see from a spectator standpoint. Laner, I don't know, maybe if you wanted to
yeah.
add something.
So do you miss commentating at all, like on a weekly basis? I know that you hopped in and did a race a few weeks ago. I'm trying to think what race. I don't even remember. I'm sure that you could probably tell me, but do
Watkins
you?
Glen.
Yeah. Do you miss commentating every week?
Uh, you know, kind of. It's always kind of just a cutout every single time. It's at night. I have to. I want to at least have. Give some form of sort of symphony for when I have to come to commentate again. I don't want to make it look like it's kind of like really flat out boring. At least I want everyone to at least have, you need chaos. You need like anything like that. You need something like what you really have in NASCAR. Look at like the NBC type of NASCAR and commentating. You see Lake Diffie. I enjoy his commentary honestly, and I wanted to have some type of type of power, type of style like him. But at least in my voice wise, at least making sure that you have a good experience looking back at it, then just kind of how the others do at some point. I miss it. I miss this a lot. I really miss it. But I have maybe plans, maybe not plans. Whoever knows, to maybe commentate a few more races as a send off. But it's not always true. I'll say that it's not always true. But I got some plans. I got some, but I do miss the I do miss that.
Yeah, and
Right.
kind of following up on um, your send off, I did want to congratulate you on retirement and well, your soon to be retirement, um,
Mm.
and having such a great career, a very versatile career too. Officiating, commentating, driving, um, part time podcaster sometimes because we brought you on a lot. Um, but it's truly been a pleasure getting to race alongside you sometimes, and um, even doing some commentary, and just to kind of have your presence around. It's been very nice. Hopefully you will consider sticking around in the ROCAR space to your extent, or your kind of availability. um, but I did want to ask you, what are you most looking forward to with retirement? You know, it can be either on Roblox, off Roblox, doesn't really matter. There's no guardrails with this question, but I guess because I know my answer was always having more freedom and more time to do what I wanted to do, outside of like I could spend my Fridays or Saturdays a little differently now than having to hop on and do a virtual race at 8 o'clock at night and pretend like I'm doing something else, to everybody who knows me. But I think that with my Fridays and Saturdays being a little more free, it's like you really get to enjoy that. So, what are you planning on doing with your retirement?
Um, it's a good question, honestly. Having a lot of free time, you know, is always like it's definitely what you want. You want peace. You want to do your own type of academics, type of lifestyle you want to do. Um, you know, I always want to at least, be in the future. I always wanted to outside Roblox, outside that. I always wanted to be some type of kind of what you are part of, but at least maybe on a TV or some sorts. Somewhere around like, I have a buddy of mine, have a friend of mine who they do this type of stuff sometimes, and they give me a lot of good recommendations on how I can make forward with it. Because I want to have this type of skill to at least somewhere outside, even though you might not at least see if you not know me, but if you know my voice, you can see why of how I want to take care of it as at least for myself. Um, it's an interesting type of thing I have to say there, but I always wanted to at least commentate into some form of competitive sports broadcast at some points, maybe like a lower end, something like that, and then you always can climb the ladder, something like that. Because currently right now I deal with another league of some sorts. It's a kind of a fun race thing where one of my buddies just kind of invited me there. I do commentary there with another few others, and they're pretty quite big. I know a couple of drivers there now, alongside a really old driver there that was in ROCAR, Train. Uh, he was there to take care of like a really like like an actual streamed race, and I was part of it, and I had a good time with it. I don't know if you know Train there, or at least if you've heard of him after a long time.
Yeah,
But
we were Lena and I were actually talking about him the other day because
Yeah, I remember Train.
there's another train in the server now, but there used to be a train a while back that we had racing in Brokar. So I didn't know if that was the same one or if it was a different
that
train,
was
but
that is the train I was thinking of. You're on the spot. You were on the spot. He was able to officiate on that race, and I was a commentator alongside others. I wish I can send. I think I remember sending in the video there, and in that general chat there. I was a part of it, and anybody else can just kind of look through it. It's a nice race. I think it was like 100, 200 lap race, but that's why I kind of step on in and kind of at least practice my commentary, at least at some things like that. Um, I want to have practice on there, and then maybe take it on an outside personal view of myself when it comes to future me. So that was just so that's just kind of the future. I mean, that's kind of my main point. If anything wise, I have another thing to do, but it's too much, so I don't want to talk about too much of it. But that's kind of how my main routine is going for in the future.
Do you have any plans to stay involved with ROCAR at all after your retirement, or are you just gonna kind of go your own way after this?
severing ties.
I mean, I will stay in on occasions. I'll at least view it a little bit, maybe chat a little, just to see what's going on. Maybe watch on what's going on of these divisions going on. Like, there's a lot going on, and I'm saying it a lot, but I'll definitely view in time to time about this, and I'll at least enjoy it in many senses.
All right. I think that was all that we had. I don't know if you had anything you wanted to ask us, or if anything you wanted to throw out there while you have the floor.
I mean, I have a kind of a question here after, after at least this season of road car. Is there like anything from these cars, the chassis, how the drafting is, the packages? What are your plans on what to improve? What is the weak spot that you want to fix on for next season?
With the
Laner?
cars?
Like the cars. I think it's maybe the cars. So I'm not
I mean, I'm not really sure that there's like one specific thing with the cars or the tracks or the packages that needs fixed. I think it's kind of a culmination of several different things that kind of all adds up to make the product that we have. Like, I know that we kind of need a different dirty air package. That would help with a lot of things. I know we need some changes done to the super speedways. Like there, and maybe like adding side draft. There's some like small things here and there, but I don't really know that there's like one major change that we look at and we think that needs fixed. Um, but I mean, there are some like small things here and there that obviously I think would be nice to fix. I think adding side draft would be something that would really improve the racing product.
So I guess you're taking care of the I guess suggestions wise, people are bringing out suggestions left and right about some good ideas about I think one of them I remember seeing is Wendigo saying introduce a buffer period where teams can themselves reach out to new people join teams, or another one I think it's also tells about the other races packages themselves. Have you been following them and at least keeping them in mind until maybe it comes to next seasons and so forward?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I see all the suggestions, but being in this league for so long, I mean, and managing it, you kind of have to sift through what is realistic, and kind of a lot of the times someone will give a suggestion and there's parts and pieces from that suggestion that I think are a good idea, and we'll just kind of pick ideas from that and implement it. But yeah, like I see all the things that people say, and I don't necessarily respond as much as I used to, but I definitely do see the things, and we try to get to everything that we can. But obviously, I've gotten a lot busier than I used to be. So, but yeah, I definitely do see people's suggestions. So we try to do what we can with them.
That's good. I don't know. I'm not a questionnaire type of guy, so I'm just kind of pulling up the wazoo. So it's
That's
my
all right.
bad.
It's all right. And I know that you are going into retirement, but I also want to
Mm.
emphasize that this is probably the last time for a while that you'll be on the podcast. So you know, really no rush here. It'll probably be a while before we have you on again if you do decide to come back. Obviously, the door is still open anytime, but
Mm.
um, you know, we have loved having you on. Um, I don't know if you have anything you would like to say to the viewers. I know some are our viewers are a bit newer, so may not be familiar with you as much, but uh,
Mm.
I think that you're still somebody who has kind of appealed to every crowd or every division in our league. So at some point in our league's history, you have. So um, I think that if you would like to say anything before um, we move on and we go to the next segment for the show, you can.
Sorry about like the little background there, but
All right.
I have plans for my maybe one or two more races of my Pennzoil driving career to at least one of them would be last time for CFM, and I maybe have a little secret thing for maybe one more because I've rode at least like two manufacturers, and I think I need to complete the trifecta. I have plans. I have plans. But you know, I want to race at least one more for CFM, and then have the trifecta and at least race in maybe Toyota if I really want to. But you know, races at Iowa. You better not give up because I'll maybe be like I don't know like fifth or sixth. I don't know. But yeah, that's just kind of the thing I want to say.
Well, it has been a pleasure time. Thanks for coming on, and we'll talk to you soon. Don't be a stranger.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, that's time modified, everybody. Um, I think what's up next here? The drivers of the week. Um, okay. I don't remember who went first last time, but if you would like to go first, laner. I don't mind putting it
Uh,
on you, but
yeah. Okay, so this is actually going to be an interesting pick. I don't think you would pick this person.
are
I
we
feel like I've been
picking
picking.
Watkins Glen first or Charlotte?
Or I was just gonna combine them. I
Okay.
mean, like if we were gonna pick Watkins Glen, I think I would obviously pick Lego, but that's not the person I'm picking for this.
Okay.
I think Lego would definitely be, if we were gonna do it like that, Lego would be my Watkins Glen driver of the week. But for Charlotte, I was actually gonna go with Parker. I know he didn't go out there and lead the most amount of laps or anything, but he did win 2 stages and to
Mm.
me, like where he was at near the cut line, I think that was really an impressive performance for that team, and it's one that Parker really needed, being that close to the cut line. So
Yeah.
I know the driver of the week can be kind of subjective on what we think, but I'm more so saying that in the sense of like that was really a performance that Parker needed. So. Yeah, I could go say Tricks because he led the most laps and won the race, but I kind of feel like that's a boring pick. So
Yeah.
I'll pick Parker because I think his performance in winning 2 stages and gaining that many points close to the cut line was really needed for him.
Yeah, I'm actually going to share the same pick with you. Um, if I'd gone first, I would have also explained. Um, but I think that, he had a really strong showing um, at Charlotte. He did lead a couple laps at Watkins Glen as well. Um, and I think that, although that the team doesn't have a win this year, they're finding other avenues to be successful. And they're still finding other ways to accumulate as many points as possible and still try their best to be there at the end of each race week in and week out. And I think that that shows. Um, I think honestly, there are a lot of tracks coming up. And, we said this a couple weeks ago, but like, you know, there's still plenty of opportunities to win the season. So I think that there's still plenty of opportunities for him in the weeks coming, for him to go out there and win a race or to, be dominant and flat out maybe win a race. That I think definitely could be in the cards for him this season. Um, I think that the downsides for that team kind of I guess play back into the struggles that SSR have shared as a whole this season. So I feel like, for him and his team, it's not really an individual struggle, it's a shared struggle amongst all of the teams um, within the organization. So I think that that has definitely kind of brought their confidence down a little bit, but I definitely think that the the Charlotte stage wins definitely helped him. I think that we'll talk about the points in just a minute as well, but um, I know that it definitely will help him in terms of trying to stay above the cut line. Um, the cut line is getting a little more tighter, so um, you know, I think as if he can stay as far away from that cut line as possible and stay above it, I think that that will definitely be a huge confidence booster for him and definitely help him going forward. But um, yeah, that's where I'm at with that.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so let me see. Let me get back to my notes here. Um, okay, do we let's talk about the situation with Aiden taking over um, Jack's Jax's car. Um, just very briefly, because I know that this was also um, in the kind of realm of I don't even know like if it's like silly season. I guess it's just a something that like a change that took place. Um, but I don't know. I'm trying to find it. The statements because I think this came out on or CFM put out a a statement on the 8th, I believe. Yes. So the 8th of July, a statement was put out by CFM and basically said that Aiden will be taking over Jax's ride and would be racing the 16 at Watkins Glen. And I'm not sure, correct me if he did race at Charlotte.
Aiden?
Yes.
Yeah, Aiden's raced the past 2 weeks.
Okay. Yeah, so I think that the assumption here is that he's going to be racing full time in the ride going forward.
Yes.
Okay. So that is another change, that we'll have to keep an eye on as well, because he is accumulating Jax's points, if I am not
Yeah, that's
mistaken.
correct.
So that is going to definitely play a factor when it comes to the points as well, because he is sitting 7th right now, only 4 points below 6th place. So, which is the last spot to make it into the chase. So, with several weeks to go, he has a realistic shot, I would say, at the chase right now. So, it'll be definitely interesting to keep an eye on how that battle plays out. He's definitely going to have some work to do this weekend and going forward, just to, make sure that he can put himself in a position to pick up some points on the guys ahead of him. But I definitely think he still has a realistic shot. We'll get into the points in just a second, but I didn't know if you wanted to give your reactions, Laner, to this, or offer kind of any information or any insight into this mid-season move.
Well, I mean, I think Aiden just did what he needed to do considering the circumstances. I mean, it was either that or forfeit the car.
Yeah.
And obviously, I mean, I know that CFM doesn't want to do that. Obviously, they would like to get 2 cars into the chase. So I don't blame Aiden for doing that. And I think it's a respectable decision for him to do that. And I know that that's not what Aiden had planned on. So, yeah, I mean, I think just considering, all the circumstances, that's probably what the best decision was.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to definitely keep an eye on Aiden, over the next couple weeks and how he performs. I know that, you know, definitely coming down to these final weeks in the chase, I know he's probably going to be a little desperate to pick up some points, maybe a stage win here and there, or even try and win a race. But I think it'll be definitely interesting, and we'll have to keep an eye on him. So, from that point, though, we are going to get into the points of the week. Let me see. So here are the points after weeks 5 and 6. So I just have week 6 displayed here, but this is following week 5. So that's kind of why I put points after week 5 and 6. I always have to pull up the other one because I never can read the one on the stream. But the points are going to be very interesting down towards the cutoff line, I think. First off, there is a 4-way battle, 5-way battle for the last place or the last few spots there. It's very, very close right now. The only 2 that I would say are visibly comfortable right now are Craigus and Land, which hold the top 2 spots right now, with a win each, and Trix fell back with the penalty, but I think that I think he'll still be okay. I don't think that there's really any cause for concern. Some of the drivers below him, I think, have had very different seasons than he's had, so I definitely think he'll be okay. just talking about points on its own. Momentum, it's definitely a momentum killer. But I definitely think that they can rebuild that in some way, shape, or form going forward. Um, but I mean, look at, the cutoff or the cut line category, plus 12, plus 11, plus 5, plus 4, and then minus 4. That's a hefty range of points. And I would definitely, I'd be a little concerned if I was one of those drivers, because right now you're not considered safe at all, whether you're looking in or looking out. Benji still has a little more work to do to get himself into that conversation. Um, he's only a couple points out from where Aiden is, and trying to get back into the top 6, but he's definitely going to have to put some work in this weekend, and over the next few weeks, to try and put himself back into the conversation. um, you know I just think, though, that, like, if I were from 3rd to 7th, I'd be crapping my pants. I would not feel good about where I'm at, just with how close the points are. um, but your take may be different from mine, Laner, but that's what I think. Because if I'm not Kragus or Land, if I'm not a driver like that who can feel comfortable week in and week out right now, um, I would be approaching these races very differently. But
I mean, yeah, I agree with that part of it. And actually, so on Parker and Benji's podcast yesterday, they had a very interesting topic about if all 3 SSR cars would make it in. And most of them were very low on that prospect. But something that none of them mentioned that I wanted to mention is nobody's considering what if Trix falls out of it. Yes, he's had a lot of speed, and you just mentioned that. Yes, that is true. But he has also gotten himself into a lot of trouble. What if Trix continues to push the boundaries, continues to get points penalties, maybe get suspended a race or two? I mean, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying Trix is really on thin ice with that kind of stuff. So, like, I don't know. Like, I could see the playoff picture shaking up in so many different ways. And Trix, man, he was the points leader a few weeks ago. Now he's plus 12. He's right in the hornet's nest with everybody else. So, like, yeah, I agree with you. 3rd through 8 is very, very close. And yeah, I mean, it's extremely close. I think for people below the cut line, I definitely have the most confidence in Benji. I still think that he will win a race before the regular season is over. I think Aiden will have a shot. I just don't know what to expect from him, like being thrown into this situation so unexpectedly. Like, I don't know where he's at with all of that. And he's still pretty new to the cars, so he hasn't ran them consistently. So I really don't know. Aiden's kind of a wild card to me. Benji, I think he will win a race. And then, yeah, I mean, you got the 3 SSR cars, and that'll definitely be an interesting topic. I mean, Lego got the win, and he is still in 6th place. So, like, that just shows you, even if with Lego's win and how many points that gave him, he is still really not where he wants to be. And neither are really myself or Parker. So these next few weeks are going to be really intense, I feel like, and there's very little room for any type of error.
yeah, I fully agree. I think the one other thing too is about Aiden. I think that now is the time for him to step up to the plate, and to perform. Putting in the work every week to practice, show up to the track ready. Because there's still maybe weeks where there's a driver who will be on the outskirts, that will not get to race.
Yeah.
There still is a chance if there is enough drivers that show up. So I think that, like, you have to be ready, you have to practice, you have to put in the work, and when you show up, you have to be smart. Don't put yourself in dumb situations where you're already below the cutoff line, and you make a stupid call and you end up even farther below the cutoff line, you know, Aiden definitely has to play it smart over the next few weeks. Show up, be smart, and, you know, you might get lucky. I think what you said was really like that stuck out to me was that like, he's not really familiar with racing these cars consistently yet. But like I said, that there is still plenty of time to learn.
Oh, definitely.
And I think, if he puts in the work, I think that, maybe he might push one of those guys out. But
it only takes one win.
Yeah.
Really. Like if he was fast at Iowa. He won the first 2 stages there last season when he subbed for Benji. And not to mention we still have Daytona. And Aiden, I would say historically in his career, has been the strongest on super speedways. So like there will be a case for Aiden to win a race before the regular season is over.
Yeah. I want to make a correction because I believe Ozo corrected me in the chat about the part-time rule. I didn't realize that was in effect while I was saying that, but I honestly think though that still like Aiden is definitely gonna have to put in the work, given the circumstances that he's been put in. Do I think he has a shot? Yes, but he's definitely gonna have to work for it. Already kind of accumulating the points that Jax earned. He definitely got a boost from that. So we shall see. I'm not sure. But yeah. Anything else you're looking at with the points right now?
I mean, no, it's just crazy. I mean, I don't really think that we'll know until, the regular season's wrapped up, but I would just say that really nobody's out of it. Landon Craigus obviously stand out, like you mentioned. But yeah, I think really anybody still has a shot.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's get to our preview for the weekend. Iowa, woohoo! Oh, that was weird. I'm trying out some new transitions, guys, so don't mind. I'm trying out new scene transitions for the podcast, but anyways, for Iowa this weekend, the Cup Series is heading there on Friday. It is 180 laps. Stages are 50, 50, and 80. Practice starts at 8 o'clock. Qualifying starts at 8:15, and then the race kicks off at 8:30. The package is standard, no dirty air, and realistic acceleration. So there's your race breakdown for the weekend coming up. I'm going to break my thoughts into 3 different categories. Number 1 is fast-paced. After doing a singular run on this track, it is extremely fast-paced. And I know from probably what Laner could say about last season's races, it's probably going to be nothing short of that. Drivers are going to be faced with a lot of split-second decisions. Some weeks you have more than a second or two to make a decision. But this week is going to be a little different. So I think a fast-paced race is definitely going to play a part into it. Another area of interest that I'm curious about is going to be pit road. The pit road entry is very, very complicated. It's very easy to miss it at this track. You need to be smart about your pit road entry, either under caution or under green. Under both circumstances, there is a very narrow entry or like a access road to pit road. So definitely have to be smart about avoiding penalties. And, we could see a lot of those this weekend. So drivers will definitely have to be smart about that. And the number 3 is going to be restarts for me. I think restarts are going to be very key because the way that the front straight is angled, um, the front straight reminds me of Richmond. Um, I think that there's definitely going to be like if there's going to be a dominant line, either the bottom or top lane that accelerates better on the restarts. So I think when it comes to that choose cone this weekend, drivers are going to have to be very smart with their restarts and choosing what lane will benefit them the most, especially in maybe what we may see as an overtime finish. Things get very chaotic on overtime restarts, as we're very familiar with in this league. So, yeah, be very interesting to watch and wait and find out. Um, those are the three things that I'll be keeping my eye on this weekend, though.
Yeah, I agree with all of those. I think Iowa and Richmond are very, very similar. Actually, I think really the only difference is Richmond has more of a curved back straightaway, whereas Iowa is a little bit more straight. But Iowa and Richmond are very, very similar. It's a
Yeah,
very good comparison. At least with these cars, I think you can kind of use more lanes at Richmond. Iowa seems more like a bottom dominant track. Um, but yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to Iowa. I felt like we personally had good speed at Iowa last season, but I really feel like everybody showed up to Iowa with speed. I mean, like I could go through the list. Aiden showed a lot of speed. He won both stages. Land nearly won the race. Parker was really fast at time. Lego was fast. He won the race. So like, I really think all six drivers in the field will have a case to win Iowa. At least to me, like it's not a very difficult track. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, so I really think it'll just come down to track position and who's in the right place at the right time.
for sure. Um, is there a particular area of interest, I guess, that you're watching this weekend from a driver standpoint? I mean, maybe something that you're concerned about or something that you're going to be putting more emphasis on as a team?
Well, I mean, for me personally, I feel like I have the speed down. The thing that I'm going to be paying attention to is if it runs green. I think
Mm.
pit road entry is really tricky at Iowa, especially with the manual pit road speed. It's
Yeah,
very easy to get caught speeding. You really have to slow down in a hurry coming out of turn four. It's very easy to overshoot pit road. I think if we do run green, that will be very interesting. I think we'll see some people have some pit road speeding penalties, and I also think that we'll see some people overshoot pit entry. So yeah, I think that's something I'll really be watching. I don't think last season we had the chance to go through a green flag cycle, and I don't know if we will this season or not. But if we do, I think that's something I'll be watching.
yeah. I also want to point out too that the backstretch is like very very short. By the time you
Yes.
get back on the backstretch, you're basically preparing to go into turn three already. It's not really like Richmond where you have a couple seconds before you're entering turn three. So if you're thinking about pit road and you're going to be pitting that lap, you better think about it very quickly once you reach the backstretch. It's going to come up quick. So um, I don't have anything else though. I think I want to talk about for Iowa. I think covered all of our bases.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much else to say at Iowa. Like, I think it'll be a very chaotic race, and I think that there will definitely be people pissed off at each other by the end of it. So, um,
Yeah.
should be exciting. But yeah.
What's a ROCAR race without frustration and aggravation towards one
Well,
another?
they're less common, and the new people are really fortunate that they did not have to race in the old cars because
Yeah,
weekend, if you like, let's take Iowa for example this week. Like we're gonna have a lot of emotion. It was like that every single week. It didn't matter if we were at Texas, didn't matter if we were at Talladega, didn't matter if we were at Bristol, didn't it did not matter where we were at. Every single week was like that.
yeah,
So, I will say I am very grateful that it is less common now.
yeah. Those cars were, man, they were a doozy. You never knew what you were going to get every week. with
Yeah.
those cars.
Well, you knew one thing: everyone was going to be pissed off at each other.
Yeah, that's for sure. Um, all right, I do want to get our rate the races in and our race winner picks for this weekend, because I know that we've run up on about an hour and 20 minutes. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah. Um, let me see. Rate the race. So, do we want to do? We can do as a collective, I guess, like we did for driver of the week. Maybe.
I mean, honestly, like, yeah, like I'm not gonna be able to rate Watkins Glen because the stream cut off, and
Yeah.
yeah. So like, people say Watkins Glen was a good race, so I'll trust what the people say, but I think I could more confidently rate Charlotte.
Yeah. Um. All right. Well, then let's do a collective score or collective percentage. Um, I'm gonna give both races. I would say I'll say a 70%. Um, I honestly really liked what I saw from like the stream, at least at Charlotte. I think that it was a pretty competitive race. Um, Watkins Glen was extremely fast um, from the first couple laps that I did see. Um, but I think that from the most part, it still looked entertaining, and it still looked really fun to race on. So I feel like there was two back-to-back races that were decent, half decent. So I mean, there's no really complaining for me on that front. Um, I wish that there was a little more of a cleaner passing when it came to Charlotte, but I think that that goes into the again the narrowness of the track, um, which is not really like in our control or anything. But that would be like my only downside to it. Um, but I think I'm gonna go with the 70% for both races. So yeah, those are my scores.
I think I'll go with the 75.
Okay.
I don't know what happened at Watkins Glen. People said it was a good race, so Charlotte, I don't think it was the best, like I said, but I think it was pretty fun. It was entertaining. Um, I had fun. Um, it wasn't miserable, and I feel like for the longest race of the season, you want something that's somewhat entertaining. So I enjoyed Charlotte. I mean, there's some small tweaks that I feel like we could do for next season, but overall, I mean, I thought it was a really good race, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good crown jewel event.
Yeah, I think I think Charlotte is a really fun race to go back to for a crown jewel. So, I'm looking forward to seeing how it turns out next season.
Yeah, I agree.
ROCAR season 10, crazy, right?
Oh yeah,
10th season.
6
Um,
years.
yeah, crazy to think about. Um, all right, let's move on to our race winner picks. Um, who you got for Iowa?
Oh man, putting me on the spot.
You knew it was coming.
Well, you know, history tells you to go with land, but the streak was broken last season. Now, I know Land was not very happy with the way that that one played out. Parker disconnecting in the final few laps, Legos stealing the win, but I think I'm going to go with Lego here. I think Lego has proven that he is the best short track racer in this car. I don't even really think that that's controversial. I mean, he won Bristol, Richmond, Iowa, and Nashville last season. So I think this is the race where Lego really gets his season back on track. Because I think, like, if you just look, we only have one season to go off of, but last season I think Lego kind of proved that as of right now he is definitely the best short track racer in this car, and I think somebody else is going to have to go out there and prove it if they don't agree with that. Like Lego's just won a lot of short tracks, so it's hard for me to not pick him.
Yeah, and I know he probably doesn't have the confidence for you to pick him, but like I think that should be a confidence booster for him to go out there and do well. Um, but that's just my opinion. Um, I'm gonna go with Land. I'm gonna go on the opposite end of you. I honestly think that Land was really fast. This at this track last season. And the controversy at the end kind of screwed up his chance of winning the race. But I think that Iowa overall is just a really good track for him and that team. Um, I think that they usually bring a really good car to this track as well. Um, so I mean, I honestly I wouldn't be surprised if they go out there and win the race this weekend. I think that they are probably one of the favorites to
Yeah,
win, and clear cut, probably would be some people's pick to win as well.
I
Um,
agree.
so I honestly think that he probably, along with a couple other guys, have a pretty equal chance of winning the race. I think qualifying will be very telling of maybe who's got some of the faster cars, but
Well,
we'll have to wait and see.
I also think qualifying will be important because judging off last season, it was pretty hard to pass. I mean,
Yeah,
I felt like I had a really fast car last season, but I could never get the lead. And it was really hard to pass in traffic. I think whoever qualifies first will have a big advantage, and will probably go off and lead most of the first stage and maybe even win the first stage. So, qualifying towards the front is very important, and ideally you want to qualify on the bottom because we qualified second last season. We got stuck on the top, and I think we fell to last like almost immediately. Um,
mm,
so you definitely want to be on the bottom. It's a very bottom dominant track.
yeah,
So don't want to qualify second. Qualify first or third.
yeah. Um, Handing out some tips to the people watching, maybe.
Yeah.
Um, but I think for the most part that is gonna do it from us. I don't think that we had anything else to talk about. Um, I think that's basically it. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Appreciate all of you guys taking the time. As always, was a very late night episode. Cutting into almost 9:30 now on the East Coast, but thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate the support as always, and hopefully we'll see you guys back on maybe. I think Monday should work for me on doing an episode. Um, Hopefully this week coming up. So hopefully maybe we'll see you guys on Monday. I don't know if that works for you later, but
Yep.
yeah, I think Monday should work for us. So hopefully we'll see you guys on Monday. And we'll chat with you guys after this weekend's races. But tune in this weekend for Iowa. It should be very interesting. Yes, Lego 9:30 is late for a podcast finishing. Podcast that's supposed to go from 8 to 9. Um, Anyways, but we'll talk to you guys on the other side of Iowa, and we'll chat with you guys later. Have a great rest of your night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in again. Good night.
See you guys.